Hey everybody, I have a bonus earrings tutorial for you today, and we're going to be making these really cute, you can say either cactus or thistle earrings. They complement very nicely, and they're an adaptation of the same pattern that we used for the thistle bracelet, which is right here next to me. Let me show you that really quick. That video is already posted on Julian Creative Soul playlist. And so this beautiful set of earrings is going to be what we're doing today. I'm going to be using the earring looms. And so if you have your earring loom handy in your March 2025 Creative Soul bead kit, you have everything you need to jump in. And if you're new to Creative Soul or looking for how to subscribe to the kits, check out the link in the description for how to get your subscription sent to you every month. We do a new project every month, and I always do a bonus earring or like some kind of little bonus project to use those leftover beads in the kit. All right, so let's dive into the tutorial. Hey to my Creative Soul besties. This is a bonus earring tutorial that is going to be using the beads from the Creative Soul March 2025 kit. If you're not already set up to subscribe to this beautiful kit, I highly recommend doing so. There'll be links in the description for signing up for the monthly delivery of gorgeous bead palette and projects. So every month we do one main project, and that was this month's the thistle bracelet. And so that video is available for you to watch. But the class today is to do a bonus earring. And so I thought together we would make the match to this really gorgeous cactus earring. It's actually a match to the thistle bracelet, in fact, but I felt like in this profile view, it looked more like a cactus or a little succulent plant. So it can kind of be whatever you want it to be. So we're going to start by warping our jewel loom. Oh, forgive me. We're going to be working with the earring loom today. This was made on the blue jewel loom, the original. And then today I'm going to work with the earring loom. However, you could do this on your original jewel loom as well if you'd like to. I'm going to be using the thread from the March 2025 Creative Soul kit, and I'm going to be using the beads from that mix as well. And so what I've got here on the mat is I've laid the beads out as A, B, C, D, and E from the pattern. And then I'm going to prepare my loom with enough warp threads to cover each bead in the pattern. And so we're going to start with 12 warp strands. And so I'm just going to go ahead and tie a double knot with a thread right onto this notch here. So there's one, and I'm just going to turn it around. And I'm still working from the spool. We're going to need an undeterminate amount of length, so I start with a spool so I can just kind of get there from there. And so there's our tied to the notch. And so go ahead and just bring your thread up through the first one, which is just adjacent to where you knotted, and go through one of these combs here on one side, and then the corresponding one here at the base, through one coin here, one comb, not coin, and then just using your either fingernail or thumbnail, whichever's easier, hold that thread in place, and you can bring your thread right up through the next comb. Crossing here at the top, and I'm just going to carry on just like that. We might have our little tail thread in the way here, so just let me pull that out of the way. I decided to keep it so I can tie to it at the end. There we go. So there's 3 warp strands. There's number 4. And so just carry on like that. If that tail thread's in your way, you can always washi tape it kind of to the bottom, but we're going to use it once we have all of our strands in place. Just as a place to tie off to. So I just keep going. If you count on the side, it's easier to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So keep going till you have 12 of these on the loom. All right, so there's my 12th warp strand, and I'm going to bring the thread, through the comb that's adjacent here, and then go ahead and head over to this side where you left the tail, and then just wrap around a few times. If you can, try to get the thread to sit in the notch like that. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some flush cutters really quick, or some scissors, whatever you've got handy, and then trim free from the spool, and then go ahead and just tie a double knot with the tail thread. I think this is the easiest way, and historically I've trimmed the tail thread, but I do like having it here to tie off to. I think that it really, really, really helps, but at this point we can trim it now that we've got our secured warp thread right there on our loom. And now it's time to create our patterns. So again, you're going to want to grab your spool, and this time start with about, I put 60 inches in the handout, and that should be plenty to do your entire pattern with without having to add any thread. And we're going to thread our beading needle. Fold over enough that it makes it a comfortable working length. And then just bring your needle underneath the warp strands. And I'm going to turn my work area just to be a little bit on its side. And then I've got my loom here. And I want to show just one more little trick that is optional, but awesomely, the earring looms come with the tassel maker, and that is a super cool gift from Jules that she includes when you order your tiny earring looms. I use these in not only to make really cute tassels, but also as a tension maker. If you bring it underneath like this and you turn like that, just to kind of add a little tension to those strands, it acts kind of like the opposite of how the bar works in the original Jewel loom. I don't know, I just think it makes it easier to get going. Like after a few rows, you may not need it in there anymore, but it really tightens this up. So those first rows just are so much easier to get started. So in the pattern that you would have gotten with your kit, or will be downloadable in the link for when you signed up, you'll want to go ahead and just take a quick look at that pattern and go ahead and create row 1. Now, if you're a top down loomer, row 1 might be the top of the pattern for you. In my case, I like to loom from the bottom toward the top. So I'm actually starting with the bottom row, which is a bunch of color E. So I'm going to be stringing 11 color E. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let me just check that, make sure I've got it right. So there should be 11. Got it. Okay. Leave a tail that's about 12 inches. So you'll have plenty to weave in, and it'll be really easy to get your needle through and all that. And then I'm going to go back through all the beads. This is how I start like all my loom patterns. I string it, I get the tail positioned correctly, about 12 inches or so. And then I just temporarily, I like to bring my needle back through the beads and position them underneath the warps, each bead. This makes it so much easier to get started. It holds everything in place. And this loom is perfectly spaced for all of these 11 OC beads. So it works out really nicely. And then you can go ahead and remove your needle and then go back through the beads, making sure this time to stay above your warp strands. And you can see right here, I kind of missed one. I can tell because I'm looking at it. If you see that happening, just pull that needle back out. You just want to make sure you stay above the warp strands in each of these cases. So just like that. And I did work with my eye side, and that's to avoid puncturing my warp strands, because I am going to use a method of weaving in that involves needing to be able to move these. But there you go. That's what you're going for right there. If you have a business card or like a bead scooper or something like that, I'm going to use a business card today because I have one handy. You can just go ahead and slide your beads just like that. and get them to move. If they move like that, you know you've got it perfect. Like they're just going to be really easy when we do the warp pulling in. So let's do one more row together and then we'll skip to taking it off the loom. So bring your needle underneath the strands again, and then pick up 11 of the next color in your pattern. For me, that's a row of 11 color D, because I am working from the bottom. And this time, we don't need to bring our needle back through it. We can just pull that edge bead right up in position, and all of the other beads should just go and pop right in place for us, especially since our tension is so good. So just like that. And then once you've got that, hold it and go back through the beads, staying above those warp strands. And if you kind of like push up against the bead wall, kind of like what I'm doing here, it really helps. So just like that. And then if you'd like, you can test that by sliding it a little bit. I'm going to need to straighten my beads out one more time. Oh, here you go. Looking for my bead scooper there. My bead scooper is metal, so a little bit more stronger than a business card. They both work. Even one of those like little triangle trays, you know what I'm talking about? Like those little bead sorters. Even that, any kind of little just flat surface will work for that. And there we go. So I just need to finish stitching the pattern, and then I will go ahead and bring the camera back on, and we'll take it off the loom together and finish the earring. All right, so super easy peasy. We've got our beautiful earring here. And something I always do with earrings is I just bring the other one over and check and make sure I did it the same. Yay, I did. Okay, and so I'm going to take out my tension, and I'm going to go ahead and flip the loom over. And all we need to do to free it from the loom is we just need to free this knot right here. And it's the only spot we need to cut. So I'm going to just cut right here just to get that knot free. The rest of it should just come free as I pull these around. Any luck? If you need to trim just kind of here at the top too, sometimes I do that. Yeah, there we go. All right, so what that'll do when you free that knot, the one that we had tied there to the side notch, is it will free your two side warp threads. So far so good. And for the others, we're just going to use our thumbnail and just free them from the comb here. And they'll just come right off. At the bottom here, these will just fall free. We set our beautiful earring loom aside for the next one. And I'm going to pull these warps in really quick. Make sure the little loops are separate. And then if you have some chain nose pliers handy, go ahead and use those to just get a grip on the thread. Holding the piece, just go ahead and pull on one side, and the thread, you'll see it move here at the bottom. The little loop there at the bottom should move. And bring that up till it meets the bottom of your piece, and then move to the bottom and do the same thing. Pull that down. Over here, we're going to grab this one. So you see, just go top to bottom, switching, pulling either up or down for the next warp strand in from the last one. Every time you're just going to be switching top to bottom. And on an earring, it'll go pretty quick. We just don't have that much length. If you were with us for the bracelet, you saw that took a little longer, but still exactly the same process to a T, just takes a little extra time. And I just wanted to show sometimes the loops will grab another strand or another loop. Just watch for that. There we go. I'm actually really liking the bent nose pliers for this. What do you think, guys? I randomly grab them. I usually grab regular chain nose, but I feel like this is working out really nice. Look at that. And here's another example of grabbing one of the other loops. It does this a lot. So you just free it, and then keep going. I'm just leaving the camera on for this whole thing. I figured it might be cool to see the whole thing. Sometimes I skip ahead in some of these videos, but I think I've ever done a whole one. Oops, there we go. And the reason I press down on it is just to keep all the beads from, they typically don't scrunch up, really that bad, but I do this anyway, just out of habit. On a longer piece, they might. On this one, I'll probably get away with not doing it, but. And if they start to curl like that, you see how this one is curling? Just go a little slower. You can even kind of hold the loop if you want to. There we go. All right, so now we only have a few strands that we have to weave in this side and this one, which I'll probably keep to do my loop, and then the 2 weft threads. So really quick refresher on weaving in, just in case that's new to anybody. Let's start with the one I got my needle on already, which is this top one. This is a weft strand. Weft is the ones you're doing your looming with back and forth. So it's exiting from a bead. So with a weft strand, what you'll need to do is jump over the warp side. So this is the side warp here, the one that's running down. And this is the thread I'm weaving in, the one I'm wiggling right now. I'm going to jump over the warp, which will bring my needle in. And then just pick up one of the weft strands. So in fact, you're kind of going under itself in a way. This is that weft strand that we were using. But see, there's 1, 2, and 3. See how I picked those up? That's a really, really nice way to weave in. It's quick and it's secure. And I usually do that 3 times. So here's number 2. And here's number 3. Oops, I'm just going to move that back out of the way. And hopefully that's really clear. I'm going to make sure you guys can see it. You can kind of see as it reflects on the needle there that I caught each of those wefts that runs through those row of beads. All right, so there's that. I'm going to just trim that. Okay, so do the same thing with this strand here, which is the tail we left when we very, very first started looming. You'll go over that edge warp and weave it in the same way. Here at the top, working with a warp strand, only one difference weaving in a warp strand, and that is how you enter the row. So let me show that really quick. Again, you want to thread a needle on. And since this is the strand that's actually running this side, it's not coming out of a bead. It's actually stabilizing that top row. You can see it's the strand that's being hugged there by the thread going through that row. So we're going to need to jump over a bead and go through. Maybe like just a few beads here. And from there you resume picking up weft. Sometimes this first row is a little tricky to pick up, but you can do it. There we go. Let's see, really good view there of what we've got. We're just picking up weft thread. Go through a few beads. Repeat that 2 more times and trim that strand. All right, so there we go. All of the threads are woven in. And all we have left is that super long warp strand. We don't really need all of that strand length, but I just used it because it was there. What we're going to do is put on an ear wire loop. And it's just really, really super easy. It just exits right from the top. And because this is 11 beads across, our center are these 3 beads right here. So we're just going to weave to exit from one of those. And again, this is a warp strand. So we're going to jump over the edge bead and then head into the row. And I'm going to try to exit from the one of either the first or the last of those center 3 beads, depending on which direction you're heading from. It's just going to be those center 3. So I'm just right here. And what I'm going to do is pick up for color A. And I went with 4 because it looked really nice. But you could do, if you wanted to do 6, you could do 6 as well. Your hole will be about, that's about a 3mm sized hole. So depending on what kind of ear wire you're doing, you can size that up or size it down. But so I'm doing 4 beads here. And I'm going to skip the bead I'm exiting, the next one, and then I'm going to go through the 3rd. So just like that. Loop will form. From here, head right back up through those beads you just strung. And when you do that, that side will hug the bead that you were exiting. Let's get through these other 2. And on this side, go through that bead, the one that's, you see the thread coming out of it. Go through that bead from the other side of where the thread's coming out. So just like that. And when you pull that, it will pop that bead right in place. And if you want to tighten it, hold everything and pull on that thread. It will tighten up for you really nicely. Reinforce by following that same path. And if at any point you need to tighten, you just hold everything and pull. And then when you get to this side, you can just go through one side and exit the other. Here, let me just move that really quick. There we go. If your rows are tight like mine, you might have to help it just a little to get through that bead. I noticed that. My tight tension today is really, like, it's more than usual. So I'm just noticing that with my stitching. And there we go. All right. And from here, you can reinforce it one more time. And then just weave in your thread. Yeah, so we've got that ready to go. I've got some round nose pliers here. I want to show a quick trick. You can use them to round out your beautiful little loop that you just made by just placing it onto the round nose. This is especially nice if you're someone who photographs your work for sale to make them pop like that. You can just use those round nose pliers to make the beads do that nice rounded little pop. And then go ahead and put your ear wire on. So I used some random ear wires that I had in my stash. You can use any ear wires you want. Even some earring posts would probably work with a jump ring. So anything would be really cute. I just happen to have these kidney ones that I was going to use. And these are symmetrical front back. You can flip them so it actually just does not even matter which side you string. Could not be easier. And I'm just going to pop them on like that. Yeah, there we go. So now I have these really cute, just super summer vibes. I love them. Very neat. I think I need to try them on. So let's do that. Let's try these on. So it might take me a minute to put earrings on. I'm like, every time I try to put on earrings lately, I have to find like which side it's on. And there we go. Oh, wow. Okay, so I love a tile earring because they really do have that nice pop and they look like you're wearing a little piece of art. Because, I mean, it is a piece of art. We just made, our version of a painting. Is that on? Yeah, there we go. I did that in one try. Aren't they cool? Here, I'm going to bring my camera a little closer. So neat. Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave these on. They're so cute. Yeah, this is really fun. I want to do more like this. I know we've done a lot of like kind of beautiful beaded tiles. We did those really cool Portugal inspired ones like oh my gosh, how many years ago was that? I can't remember. But it was when the earring looms first came out. So I think we need to go back and make more of those too. So I hope you've loved this. I hope you're loving your Creative Soul kits, and get ready for April because April's going to be another awesome one, really fun. And I also want to say thank you for watching this video. And if you could hit the like button, that would be really even cooler. And I'll see you for the next one. Okay, bye.